Hello guys, so in today's video we're going to look at a titanium wood stove by Silverant. I got this one recently and I'm pretty excited about it. So I've been doing a lot of hot tent camping in the past, mostly winter camping, and I've been using my Kaneko stove as well as my Worktuf stoves. Those are steel stoves, very robust, but they're also quite heavy. So this is why I was interested in getting this packable light titanium stove. So as you can see here, the stove pack's pretty compact. So in its pouch, it measures 15 inches by 12 inches by 3 inches thick. So it's a pretty compact package. It comes in two different pouches, one for the main body of the stove and the second for the chimney and the adapter. So one feature that I really like about this stove is that it can be assembled very quickly. Another feature is that no tools are necessary for the assembly. So basically you just need to extend the size of the stove and then use the locking tabs in the grooves to lock it securely. So the chimney is attached to the stove via this curved adapter. It's quite easy to install. You just need to slot it at the end of the stove. So the body of the stove itself is made out of robust titanium. It's around 1 millimeter thickness. And one other feature that I really like about the stove is that it has these two extendable tables on the side. So when you're cooking with it, you can move your food from the top of the stove where you're heating to these side tables where it can remain cooler. So the chimney itself is made out of this rolled up titanium foil. So the foil itself is quite thin. So it's a bit of a challenge the first time that you're going to roll up the chimney. So it also includes these 5 rings that are necessary for the chimney to hold its shape. When the chimney is deployed, it measures roughly 6 foot tall or 180 centimeters tall, and the diameter is about 3 inches or 6 centimeters. So when set up, the body of the stove measures about 15 inches in length, and with the foot extended, the stove will be around 13.5 inches high. Being made out of titanium, the stove is quite light, weighing in at 2,438 grams or about 86 ounces. So before you take a new stove on a camping expedition, you really need to test it first. So for the first burn, I took it out in the forest with my Polish Lavu system to see how the two systems will work together. So the Polish Lavu system is composed of 2 shelter halves that are buttoned together. They're made out of canvas, so they're breathable. But as you can see, it's not a huge system. It's pretty compact. So to me, it looks like a good system for spring or fall camping for maybe one person and the titanium stove, although there's enough space maybe to add some gear in there. So one limitation of a stove like that is the size of the firebox is not huge. So it measures about 15 inches in length by 10 and 10 inches. So you really need to prepare your kindling and your wood appropriately to get the most out of it. So one thing that I like to do is to line the bottom of the stove with some hardwood sticks. So as they burn, it's going to create some hot embers. That's going to help with the fire. So another trick to get a good draft in these small stoves is to add a lot of birch bark once you get it lighted. So as the birch bark burns, it's going to create a lot of heat. And the heat's going to rise up through the chimney to help create a draft. The one reason that you want to do your first burn of your new stove outside of the tent is that often the stoves are coated with some oil to maintain them, to avoid corrosion. And you want to burn this oil off your stove outside of your tent to avoid stinking up your tent. So one important trick is to leave the door of your stove open for sufficient amount of time to get your fire established so you can get some good embers. So if you shut down the door too quickly, it might choke out your fire. The front door has some adjustable air vents so you can increase or decrease the intake of air however necessary. One feature I really like about this stove is the small window on the front. So it's a heat resistant glass. It really allows you to see the fire properly, but at the same time it'll add a red glow in your tent that's very enjoyable. So I was pretty impressed about the performance of this stove. So as you can see here, it doesn't produce much smoke, so showing that the burn is pretty efficient. I was using pretty dry sticks, and overall it worked quite well. So overall, what are my impressions on this stove? So definitely I'm very impressed about the size and the weight. So it can collapse to a very compact package, very easy to transport by backpack, and the weight also is quite manageable. So overall, this stove really shines as a man-portable system. You can easily pack it in your backpack. It's a bit small for winter camping, but for fall or spring, I think it's great.